Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to FPL Don't Panic. Okay, probably the last one of the week, unless there's some significant incidents after all the Champions League matches, European matches, etc. happening in the next few days. Any injuries that change any plans. So we'll just kick off for those of you with the shorter attention spans. It's interesting when I do look at the YouTube stats. There's some that sort of come in, just see the team, that's it, that's all I want. And then some of you do that stick through my, some of you actually do stick through my waffle. Hopefully you guys get something out of it. Yeah, first thing I'm noticing as I'm just looking at my screen is my tan line. Dear God, I must look like a bloody weird sort of fucked up lollipop. Chocolate lollipop with a bit of peach fuzz on top. Anyway, is what it is. The sun is shining. Once I've done this, I will be heading to the beach, so maybe we can balance this out a bit. That's the team, anyways, for the double game week. Is it perfect? No, it is not. But they are good fixtures. Got a few decent differentials in there. You know, take a screenshot, whatever you want to do, or have a look through it. Because what I want to do, probably more to the point, is how this affects things going forward, not just for the double game week, but also for the games leading into the blank in game week 29, and how we're looking there at the moment, and how we'll be looking beyond that as I try to think what are going to be the right transfers to bring in, ensuring that I have a full team going into 29 and a decent team coming out of it before we get to the double in 33 and the big blank in 34, where I will need transfers. So without further ado, we'll get rid of that. Hopefully, wrong one. This. So we'll talk through this in a little more detail. So one of the things that is, obviously, I do not expect to be getting a green arrow this week. Anything, a small red would be a joy. I suspect it's going to be a bigger red, purely and simply because this week we're going to have the first of the assistant managers coming in. Now, I heard something this morning, I don't know how accurate it is. I was one of the other content providers, but it sounds like about 1 million managers have activated the assistant manager chip, and that will clearly grow as we get close to deadline. Then, of course, we have a lot will be using their triple captainer, and mostly I would imagine on Salah, although some may go for a differential. But I think the smart money would be to put it on Salah. So I just can't see a world in which I can get a green arrow this week. But I do like my team going out. Running through it. These for those of you uninitiated in my spreadsheet of death. These are their last 5 game weeks played, where they played over 60 minutes. Their average, and then that is the 5 games added up, so we can get an idea of what the highest points this team would have achieved playing at the same time, and the lowest, and that all of that helps me to come up with my predictions. Pickford, yeah, obviously that's a smart choice. I think a lot of people will have Pickford, and a lot of people will be transferring in. I see his price is actually going up, so that suits me fine, because there may come a point further down the line, you know, the fixtures by and large are not desperately bad. We've got but just really a few really good fixtures in there, but post 29, that looks pretty horrific, to be honest with you, and I wouldn't have worried about that so much, except at the moment we've got Fabianski. Fabianski may have lost his place, so I haven't even got a little rotation that I can actually use there at the moment. So I don't. It's not a priority for me in the next 4 or 5 game weeks, a keeper transfer, but it is something as I sort of built this spreadsheet out that it made me think, ooh, maybe I do need to look at I don't know, a Sells or not sure who yet. Haven't examined it enough to really come to any decisions, except that it may be something that is not a priority, but something maybe I do need to think about, or do I hold out here until we get the double here, where hopefully I'll have built up a bunch of transfers, because I may need to wildcard in the double and then have a bunch of transfers coming out into the blank, which is where I plan to use my assistant manager's chip in this area here. Making sure I catch this this double here. So whether I do it, here across 34, 35, 36, or 35, 36, 37, or 36, 37, 38. No decisions made there yet, except I know that wildcard and having a bunch of transfers will be important because I absolutely blew my free hit chip. Story for another day. A long time back, seemed like a good idea at the time. It wasn't. So yeah, Hall is, so this is where we I need to understand. So listen, Hall's looking pretty good. Yeah, that was an unfortunate blank in the last game week, but fixtures not too bad. We've got that City one there, but I've got potential. Well, I've got a very good rotation there with Gabriel for Ipswich for 25. Not a bad fixture at home to Forest. Liverpool away again. I've got some decent option there, obviously. Yeah, maybe. That's where, to be honest with you, I think at this point that Hall may have gone. And I suspect that's going to be largely because I will be looking to free up cash, looking to bring in someone from my watch list with good fixtures like a Huijsen. So that is going to be the name of the game over the next post this double, bringing in the right players at the right time as fixtures get more difficult. And as I understand, as you can see from the red here, Hall is one of those. Crystal Palace home, I think, is unlikely to go ahead, purely and simply because I do think Newcastle are likely to be in the Carabao Cup final. Now, that's obviously going to be the big one that we're going to know post-game week 25, and that is going to really help me cement some of my thoughts and decisions on my watch list as to who potentially comes in and who leaves. Because as I said in one of my last videos, I am making this whole process that I'm going through at the moment is making a move towards, by game week 29, been very premium heavy. Now, I don't know who those additional premiums will be that I bring in and who will be leaving the team, but that is the general idea. I really do have, talk about it more a little later, but, Haaland, these were easier fixtures, but he's certainly getting back to something towards getting some form back. 8, 13, 2, 6, 12, 8.2 average. Not great fixtures here, but here they start to turn, and certainly by here there is a decent possibility that I will bring in Haaland and have him as almost be like a differential, because if I'm planning now to make sure I can get to him, then I'd end up with that decent home fixture there. We know that Brentford are shocking away from home. We've got Leicester, Man United, unless there's some improvements. We've just made a new signing apparently, but I think there is a long way to go for that United defence against better attacking teams, and Crystal Palace home. Now, I haven't built it out, but depending again, because we don't know what the City will be blanking in one of these either. Some of these things will start to become clear when we have our FA Cup matches and who's going to be blanking, etc., etc. But the run for City fixtures-wise is very, very good, pretty much right the way through. So Haaland, or certainly potentially a Foden. I'm trying to work out if I can reach both. That would mean some big stripping down on the bench, so I would pretty much have nothing on the bench. But it could be worth it. If I can get both of them in, and City are getting back to post-Xmas City, which I think we're seeing some flashes of. That defence is still bad, but who cares if they're scoring 2, 3, 4, 5 goals a match, and Foden and Haaland are pivotal in that, and scoring and assisting. No decisions made, but it is a part of the strategy I'm looking towards. Getting as many of those premiums in the team with, as I say, good peripheral players like your Huijsens, like potentially your Dangos. I mean, he does look, and he's playing up front. He's playing in a different position. It's an average of 7.2. That is an anomaly, that 21. I don't think we're going to see that every week or every second week, but he does pass the eye test. That leap, that goal he got with his head. Dear God, I don't think I've ever seen anyone jump as high in my life. It was immense. It really was immense. But there are also other good Bournemouth assets, and really. Anyway, I'm straying. I always do this. For the uninitiated, the people that are used to seeing me know that I stray off on these tangents. Let's get back to the matter in hand, which is actually the team. Yes, we've got Milenkovic. Just an average of 3 at the moment. Forest, have they come off the rails a little bit? 2-1-0. Certainly defensively, not the numbers that we were seeing from them before. Decent enough home fixture that I think can get them back on track. I only put in the green fixtures in the spreadsheet because that's really what I want to jump out at me as I'm examining this. But I do then sort of, as I'm thinking about whether a player should move out or not, look a little bit more closely at these. And it's not great, but we do have that Ipswich fixture there, and we do know that Forest are. He's not a definitive move out, and maybe I can see where some good rotations can happen. And not bad fixtures post the blank for a defender, I think. So we just need to see. I think we need to monitor Forest. I mean, this does often happen where we will see some of these unexpected teams flying high, and Forest have been fantastic. Don't get me wrong, they have been fantastic. But are they coming off the rails? And are they potentially, if they're still hanging around in that top half of the table, which they absolutely should be around this stage, are they potentially one to target with the assistant manager's chip if they're just going into a nosedive? I don't think they are, but I think it's one to keep an eye on. I do think it's one to keep an eye on. Trent is Trent. Yeah, 15, 0, 2, 11. That should have so been a 15 there. Greaves with that goal. Give us have had Greaves sitting as last on our bench for chunks of this season. Anyway, it is what it is. Listen, I know people have doubts about Trent. I've had them myself at times, let's be honest. But that is a 6.6 average at the moment for a defender, 7 million. But in most cases, if we had a midfielder costing us 7 million and they were averaging, around 7 points per match, we would be biting their hand off for it if that was consistent and we knew we were getting that average, every sort of 3, 4, 5 game week period. It's a good average. Now we've got some. Obviously, this is we've got him for the double. Got him for Wolves at home. Then Man City away. Is it an awful fixture for someone like Trent? Maybe not. Newcastle home. I think it's pretty decent enough. And then we've got Southampton, but he is also a potential blanker. So Trent is someone I would like to hang on to, but the question does become, as I try to potentially make that move towards that Haaland, a Foden, or another premium type midfielder or striker that's be classed in that area. He could be the cash cow I need, but it would be with reluctance that I let him go. And if I did, it probably would have to be in this sort of area here. It's a jigsaw, guys. It's a jigsaw that I build out, and then I have to make the decisions and just back myself that I'm making the right decisions. Because again, as I say, we've got that blank there. So maybe, I'm certainly not going to be getting rid of Salah. I don't think I'd be doing Palmer. I was thinking about Palmer. Still am a little bit. Just have a quick look at Salah, and then we'll actually talk about Palmer. Yes, Salah. Now, you look at Salah. Yeah, lovely. 16, 17, 2 blanks. And then he got his 8 in the last match. So his average has dropped dramatically in the last few weeks. He was riding at 10, 11, 12, 13 before that last block of 5. It's down to 7. There are other players in the team beating him. I mean, essentially, if you'd had your captain's armband and just been brave, and I think 1 or 2 did, and stuck it on Isak for that last 5 game weeks, you'd have 10. You'd have an additional 20 points, I think. Something. Yeah, that sounds about right. So, is Isak turning into, in any given match, as good an option as Salah? But clearly Salah's going nowhere. Obviously, we've got these great fixtures. Yeah, tricky, but I think that tricky Man City away, in fact, it could be the perfect game for Salah, to be honest with you. And he's going nowhere. I've got too much money tied up in him because I've had him for a long time and his price has gone up. So he would be one of the ones I would bench for Aston Villa away. And then we come out of that into some pretty nice fixtures. Everton at home, West Ham away. I've got Fulham away as not as a green, but it's still a pretty decent fixture. So yeah, no worries there, and I'll just hide him on the bench for the blank. Would be 100% plan at the moment. And yeah, absolutely. That is what's going to happen. Palmer is an interesting one, isn't he? His averages are down to 5.2, and he has a couple of tens in there, lovely. He had his average back up to a 7, I think, just before these two, but now we've got these couple of blanks. But I was thinking, yeah, maybe it is time to shift him on, because it would obviously be a massive cash cow towards the Foden, or towards the towards Foden, or potentially Haaland. I don't think I'm going to be able to do both Foden and Haaland. I'm still sort of working through that jigsaw. But Palmer would probably have to. If I was going to do both, I think Palmer would have to be make way. Now, if he does not up his game here, I think I have to keep him from here. You know, West Ham obviously home. He's obviously in for that. Brighton away, Aston Villa away. They're not the worst fixtures. But if he is not doing anything in this Southampton and Leicester, he is gone. I mean, he is gone. He is a potential blanker, obviously. Fixtures afterwards, Tottenham home, Brentford away, they're good fixtures. But if he's not performing here, he will be going. And particularly if Foden and Haaland coming through some tricky fixtures, are showing some form, getting some decent returns, then yeah, I can easily afford to bring in both of those. And Palmer would go. But let's see how this all plays out. Gordon probably will very, very reluctantly go, but yeah, decent fixture at home to Fulham. I really like Anthony Gordon, but then you've got, you know, tricky enough run of fixtures. You know, Forest at home might be okay, depending on where Forest are going. Are they in the nosedive, or have they got their defence sorted out again? West Ham away, not bad. Crystal Palace home, not bad. But I do have to start to think where the cash frees up. And I think Gordon may have to go, because I will be looking, as I say, to build. I will be turning into my team to 3-5-2 from the 3-4-3. Gordon, I think his averages have dropped down to 5.8. I do want to see that 7-point average as a minimum from midfielders in this run-in. He's not there at the moment, and he's not getting the hauls at home that I have come to expect, certainly last season when I owned him. And I thought, as Newcastle were finding that form, it was just a matter of time before we would see, certainly in home fixtures, those 12, 13, 14, 15-point hauls, light on the away side. But if you get me 14 or 15 every second match, lovely. Not happening. He's not awful, but he's not quite delivering what I need at the moment. And I think there are probably better options out there. I mean, it could be, as I say, yeah, I mean, the Bournemouth midfielders. I mean, I would say if Gordon goes, which I think is likely, and if Bournemouth are continuing their run of form and going into these great fixtures, you know, I think your Kluivert's, you know, averaging 9.6 at the moment. Out this fixture out of the way. I mean, just look at that. That's just a thing of beauty, isn't it? And that would start to free up some money, or feel slightly more risky. The area I have a little bit of worry with Bournemouth, I need to look closely at when their injured players are likely to come back. Now, I think one or two of them are long term, so they're not a worry. I think Evan Nielsen would probably be the key one, because he will undoubtedly eat into either or both of Kluivert or Dango's minutes. As good as they've been playing, Evan Nielsen is a really good player, and he certainly would have been the 90-minute man, and it would have been more likely Kluivert coming in as the sub for him. Now, how can you change a team that is playing so freaking awesome? They look really, really good, Bournemouth. So I'm almost certainly, if they continue this vein of form with that one of fixtures, using either Dango or Kluivert, someone that will actually free up some money. And it will probably be Gordon that will go. None of this is definitive. These are just sort of, you know, me building it out and then trying to make the right decisions at the right time as I bring in the players based on the information I have. So that's kind of where we're at the moment. Gordon, yeah, happy enough for this next fixture, but he could go, you know, sort of in and around this area, so I can actually bring in one of those Bournemouth assets into that great run of fixtures. Big cash cow I have, I guess, is Watkins, and I guess. Yeah, I'm very nervous about Watkins. I think maybe I've been a little bit too stubborn there. Yeah, but at the end of the day, he has averaged just over 7 points for me, and it's actually not bad. It's not actually bad. But what is the Duran situation? Duran came on. He got his assist in the last match. And in the first 10 minutes of that match, I thought, oh, we're in for a Watkins Hall. He got that assist nice and early. He was looking really, really sharp. And Villa were looking sharp. And then nothing. Poor. You know, they've shown their capability. I thought they were going to blow West Ham off the park. I really did. And I thought, here we go. And it was here we didn't. And Duran came in, obviously, and they looked livelier. To be fair, they looked livelier when Duran came on just after 60 minutes. So very worried about Watkins at the moment. He will survive these two, potentially. And then we'll see what we're going to do. We'll see how I feel about the Haaland situation. But very, very easy to move to Wizard. When I have my eye on numbers, that was before his suspension. This is since his suspension. Just 3.6. Not fantastic. Wolves have been poor. But we know we all wanted Cunha, and he absolutely blew his numbers out of the park for a period. Then he went off the boil just for a few games. We thought, oh, that's his run over, and we all bloody sold him. And then he went on another outrageous run, and we think, oh, and then we're all thinking of buying him back. From here, these are great fixtures. These are really good fixtures. Now, I haven't extended it out because don't know what I'm going to be doing here. It'll be a wild card or 5 transfers to cover the blanks and the doubles here. I don't know what order I'm going to do them. Cunha's fixtures roll right to the end of the season, and that would be a massive cash cow for me to really, really have that premium midfield and hang on to premiums in defence, who I do think ultimately, like like Trent, will be top of the charts, and Gabriel by the end of the season. Let's see. Isak, Isak ticking along. 9-point average. Take that every day of the week. Can score in any game. Decent enough fixtures. I've got City and Liverpool, obviously not as greens, but I fancy City wouldn't be a bad fixture at all for his style of play and the way City play. I suspect that could be a very, very high scoring game actually. And then those fixtures post the blank, very, very good. But obviously what I have to be mindful of is Isak is likely to blank here, so he'll be another one that will need to be hidden on the bench, and between the players that I bring in and all the Reds disappear after this, after we know who's in the final, then I'm pretty confident I'll have a strong 11. Basically, I have currently got 6 players, I think, playing in the blank game week 29. I will have obviously 5 transfers to use across this period, but I shouldn't need to use 5 transfers. At least I'm hoping I won't have to use 5 transfers, because it would be nice to have 1 or 2 roll over here as well. Because maybe some of the 1 or 2 of these might come in this area. We'll just hang on to them to ensure that I have a full 5 going here. It might even help me to. I might even, depending on who's blanking, maybe I can actually get away with managing this through transfers and hang on to the wild card till a little bit later. Again, we'll see. That's just a little too far out to make definitive decisions, but it's just sort of understanding where my thinking is at. Ndiaye, I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that right. Yeah, listen, he's going to be bench fodder ultimately. Whether it's a good decision or a right decision, a wrong decision or a right decision, bad decision or whatever, I don't know yet. It's a little bit punty, but he was one that I could bring in one move. Decent fixture in the blank. He's had a little bit of form. Obviously, there was a penalty there, but he is playing. With Calvert-Lewin gone now, he's playing almost like in a new position. He is the main man. Hopefully, he takes on that responsibility seriously and gets me maybe a return or 2 in here, particularly with that Leicester home fixture. And you never know. I just have this weird feeling about the Everton-Liverpool match that we've built up so much expectation around it. We're all looking to get in the right Liverpool assets. I've just got this weird feeling it's going to be a really, really low-scoring game, nicked by 1 goal. And it would suit me down to the ground if this was the man that nicked it. I built a narrative We all know what happens with my narratives when I build them. They never happen. Well, one or two have, but a lot of them don't. So that's it. But yeah, he's someone I can hide on the bench, and if I do have the additional transfers, and depending on what money I've managed to build up through various sales and moving in some of these guys down here, you know, it could be that he turns into a whizzer. So maybe if I don't go Haaland, I end up with Isak. Isak whizzer. Yeah, that sounds lovely. Isak whizzer, and then a really strong five-man midfield and really strong defence and some great rotation options. That doesn't sound awfully bad at all, does it? Or, as I say, depending on how he comes along, Isak whizzer Cunha, which I did actually have at one point this season. It was blowing it out of the park. It really was. I think that may have been the three that I had when I moved from about 2.8 million. And at one point got up to, this was just in about 4 game weeks, up to about, I think it was about 109,000. Could go with some of that, could do with some of that again. Little look at the bench. Ahmad, he's still holding up a nice 7.2 average there. Ooh, it's a little bit of a reluctant benching. Crystal Palace home. He was so unlucky with that disallowed goal. I've looked back at it time and time again, and I don't think he was offside. I really don't. I've looked at those lines and whatever, and I don't think he was offside. What do you think? I don't know. Oh, that was really gutting. Would have meant such a big. I mean, I got a green, but it would have been a big green as opposed to a little piddly 20,000 green if that one had been allowed. Now whether Ahmad survives, well, he probably isn't going to survive as the reality as I build out that really big midfield, and you know, as I say, whether it's Foden, potentially Bruno, I might bring him up to Bruno. I'm looking for those penalty takers and those regular haulers, but you know, I've got my watch list. We'll see how that develops. It's a plan developing. You know, it's evolving with each game week. But I do like Ahmad. You know, as I say, I speak long and often about him. He's a fabulous player. But there are 1 or 2 decent fixtures in there coming up. So we'll just see how that one develops. But it does look a little tricky after the blank, and that may influence my decision as well. But in saying that, depending on what happens in these Carabao Cup matches, you know, he is a definitive player for blank. So he might survive. And maybe I can get some sort of a rotation going there. Konza, yeah, just don't like, but yeah, could be useful. Could be useful here, I think. Maybe bringing him in potentially. In fact, I'd say very likely that I might actually use him in here somewhere in 25. Because I think what I'd ideally like to do maybe is just roll a couple, and it'll make some of this clearer. Then I can actually do so much more with 2 transfers than just 1. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see how we come out of this and exactly how big a red I took, because it will be a red. It's how big a red it's going to be. Just interestingly on that assistant manager's chip, and if anyone is playing it, actually I'll talk about that in a second, because I'm going to just go to a different spreadsheet in a second. But an important point I need to make on that assistant manager's chip. Gabriel on the bench. Gabriel could end up going. He's one of those ones that could end up going. Obviously, there's the potential that he could be a blanker. We've got difficult fixtures there. He'll certainly be in for this Ipswich at home fixture. I haven't filled out beyond there to have a look at where they're at. That one, guys. But yeah, like Gabriel, would like to keep him. Would like to retain a piece of that Arsenal defence, but I can't have everyone. As I build this out, I can't have everyone, and there are just, you know, as we know, there are just some really good options out there that are actually performing better than Gabriel. You know, consistently performing better than him. So it's something, you know, I haven't even put them all in here. These are just some of the top of mind ones, you know, like your Kirkses, like your Huijsens, like your Guehi even. I know his numbers are bumped a bit. He's not a goal scorer, I know. But, you know, even if you take that out, you know, he's actually, you know, 7-2. You got the clean sheet there, so that would have been a 7, and then an 8. You know, his numbers are good, and his price point's not too bad at all. So, and Palace have, by and large, massively improved, and some nice fixtures, post to blank. So, probably not my favourite, but he is, again, I'm just monitoring some of these lower cost, sub 5 million defenders that I will want to bring in potentially for Trent, potentially for Gabriel, which does free up chunks of cash. That's kind of it on the spreadsheet, so I think hopefully that will make some kind of sense. Really happy with the team going out, but it's still going to be a red. The prediction based on the mean and the averages, so the average at the moment is just 63, excluding captaincy, of course. And I always try and exclude captaincy from my predictions for that fudge factor of God knows what will happen. Something always happens. So 63, and just extending out, because I was trying to work out how I actually do a cater for the doubles, just extending out the numbers. It's not really particularly spectacular for my 4 doublers as a prediction, but overall, that I'm predicting 83. Again, without captaincy. Really feel like I need to hit the ton. I wouldn't be happy with 83 if I'm honest. I think I need to hit the ton. There's going to be some humongous scores coming in this week. I think if you're sub 80 is tantamount to disaster. We'll have to see how it goes. The dice has been rolled, and we'll just hopefully they'll come up the right way for me. Salah, I hate to say it because I love Salah, and he's brought me big points for me, but his points mean nothing. A double blank for him would be a huge help, to be quite frank, with the triple captainers going on him. Anyway, let's see how it plays out. Predictions 83, that's what the spreadsheet says. So we'll see. Last week's my prediction was 67 and I got 65. So we'll see how this one plays out. Hopefully I am way off the mark and it ends up a lot higher than that. Let's see. I'm going to just go to this one now. Spoke about this in a very, very brief video the other day. So we've got the assistant manager chip in play for the first time. I won't be playing it until the end of the season. Hopefully we can catch some big returns, maybe in some changes in form with lower teams get hit in form and higher teams on the beach, but nothing to play for coming down. We'll see. Story for another day. The thing, just a little word of warning. I don't know how true or real this is, but it seems to be a lot of people out there playing the chip, about 1 million I believe at the moment, and that will grow. But I'm hearing some people who don't understand that once you have selected your assistant manager for a game week, yes, you can change them on any given game week. It costs you a transfer each time. So you choose your assistant manager. So if I chose Moyes, for instance, and then I want to change him after game week 24, it costs you a transfer, and you can change him the next game week, and that will cost you a transfer. I think we all know that, but what some people don't seem to have twigged is that once you have played that assistant manager chip and you choose Moyes, and then you change your mind, you will still be using a transfer or taking a hit if you actually change him. Now I'm just seeing some things in some of the Facebook pages that I follow, people complaining, oh my god, no, I've just taken a -16. So I don't know how real that is, and I haven't looked at how how it looks, and if it's not very, very clear that that's what happens. But just be mindful of that. If you have chosen Moyes or any other manager, do not change them, or you will be taking a hit if you do it that game week, or if you don't have any transfers at any point. Right. On this one, for those of you that didn't see the last video, I'm just running a little shadow FPL. So I probably need 1, 2, 3, 4, just about 3 or 4 more volunteers if you're keen, just to see how this plays out. Now, my original thoughts on the assistant manager's chip was, yeah, it is ideally suited to really go for that big upside. So, for example, if you had chosen Moyes, if it had been live last week and you had gone for Moyes and their game against Brighton and that 1-0 win, that would have netted you 19 points. Fantastic, and you got 3 shots at that. What I want to try and understand is the odds of actually picking those right. Or is it, because I think that is the narrative. Now, that's the narrative I formed for myself right as soon as it was announced. That was my instinct. But as I thought about it more, how easy is it to actually pick those outliers, those ones where you are likely to get that 19, 20, 21, 22, 23 points? And I've actually worked out it ain't that easy. So I'm running a little shadow FPL for the next 3 game weeks, just on the assistant manager's chip. So what I'll do is, make your pick. So this week I've got a few of my subscribers. I've gone with Moyes, Liam's gone with Silva, Mike's gone with Moyes, Paul's gone with Moyes as well. I'm just waiting for Chris to confirm who he wants to go with. So I'm going to just say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more slots there, because I don't want to live my life in this spreadsheet. But if you want to play along, just leave a comment. Yeah, hey Des. If I was playing my assistant manager's chip this week, this is who I'd play, and I'll just build this out over the next. Let's just actually see. We've got 3v9, 7v1, 16 versus 17, 19v20. Let's just see what the points were for all of them, and see how we worked out at the end of 3 game weeks, which is the period of time the chip is live for. How that would have worked out for us, and what are the percentage chances of getting it right in the 3 game week period. And I think it's a good one to do it because we've got the double, and I think any of us that are playing it, whether it's now or later in the season, certainly would look to play it in a double. On that point, if anyone is actually taking a little punt this week, I've decided not to. I'm not going to play it this week. There is still a very, very slight chance that we could have a double-double. There's a fixture that could actually end up dropping into 25 at very short notice. Spurs and Fulham, I think it could be. If I knew for certain there was a double-double, I would 100% play that chip this week. I think it's on about a 30% chance of that happening at the moment. But if you have played it and have decided to play it definitively, keep an eye out for that one, because you will be laughing. Because I don't think if it happens, it's not going to get announced until during game week 24. I think it rides on what happens to Spurs in the Carabao Cup and in the European Union, that there just won't be enough spaces further down the season. We'll see. It'll be what it'll be. So listen, if you want to play along, I'll update it each week. We're just going to get just really running it as a shadow FPL assistant manager's chip to just see how easy is it to pick those fixtures, or is it, if everyone else is going for those big ones, I am going to go for Wolves versus Nottingham Forest, and the upside is huge. If Wolves, who can score a few goals, get like a 3-1 win against Forest. I don't even know when that fixture is happening or if it's happening, but I'm just using it as an example off the top of my head. The upside on that is huge, massive. But you've got to get it right, or you get bugger all. Or is it better to go for your Pep or your slot when you can see home fixtures against, Man City have got Ipswich at home. Yeah, nice easy 10 points. Next one, Liverpool have got Southampton at home. 3-0 win. Get my 6 points, get me 3 goals, get me 2 points with a clean sheet. I think most people at the moment are going to be going for upside. How easy is it to get that upside? Or is it better to try and pick up your 30 or 40 points going for your slots, your Peps, etc., with good fixtures where they could score a few goals? I don't know the answer. But I'd like to get a feel for the odds on what the best thing is to do before I do it. So let me know what you think in the comments. If you want to play along, if it ends up in more than 7 or 8, it's fine. Just throw it in there. Let's have a little look at it. Let's have a little bit of fun with it, and I'll just sort of update it on a weekly basis as we go through the next 3 game weeks. That was a huge waffle. I think that may be one of my longer videos. Apologies, guys. I have spreadsheeted you all to death once more. I don't think I'll be back before the deadline unless anything significant happens. So listen, I hope you all have a fantastic game week, double game week. I will obviously have a catch up during the actual double game week. It's damn near a 2-week period, but pre-deadline, that will be it from me from now. Hope it all goes well for you. I hope you got the right Liverpool players. Hope you got the right Everton players, and hopefully we all have fantastic big green arrows at the end of it all. Take care, have fun, play your own game, don't panic. I shall see you on the other side. Take care, bye-bye. It doesn't want to stop recording.